All right, let's dive into Numbers chapter 32. Now, this isn't some dusty old story. Think of it more like a tense, high stakes negotiation. It's a drama filled with ambition, some serious anger, and a promise that's about to change the entire map of Israel forever. Let's get right into it.
So let me ask you this. Imagine you find the perfect place, your absolute dream spot to settle down. But there's a huge catch. To claim it, you have to leave your family and go help everyone else in your community get their homes first. That's the exact dilemma facing two of Israel's tribes. They're right at the finish line, but they're asking to stop just short. And that choice could either lock in their future or tear the whole nation apart. So our story kicks off on the eastern side of the Jordan River. Israel has just had some massive military wins, and two tribes who happen to be loaded with livestock see an opportunity that is just too good to pass up. But what seems like a totally reasonable request is about to cause a major, major conflict. Okay, so verse 1. Picture this. The tribes of Reuben and Gad have so much livestock, it's almost a problem. The verse says a very great multitude. They look out at these lands they just helped conquer, Jazer and Gilead, and they see a rancher's paradise. It's perfect. So, as verse 2 tells us, their leaders get together and go approach Moses. They're ready to make the pitch of a lifetime. So in verses 3 and 4, they're laying out their case, basically pointing at a map and listing all the places that would be perfect for their herds. Then, in verse 5, comes the bombshell. Let this land be ours. Do not take us over the Jordan. They're asking to opt out of the final mission, right before the finish line. You can just feel the tension in that room, Spike. Moses does not take this well, at all. And his response isn't a simple no. It is an absolute explosion of anger, and it's all fueled by a really painful memory from Israel's past. He sees history about to repeat itself, and he is not having it. Verses 6 and 7 are just pure fire. You can almost see the look on Moses' face, his eyes just blazing, his voice is thundering. So your brothers are going to go to war while you just sit here? Are you trying to poison the morale of the entire nation? This isn't a negotiation anymore. He's basically accusing them of treason. So Moses decides it's time for a history lesson, and it is not a happy one. In verses 8 and 9, he yanks them all the way back 40 years to Kadesh Barnea, when the spies came back with a terrifying report. That fear, that discouragement, Moses says, was like a virus that infected the entire camp. And the result, as verse 10 puts it, was that God's anger was set on fire. And the consequences were just devastating. In verse 11, God makes this unbreakable oath. Not one man from that faithless generation would ever see the promised land. Verse 12 points out the only two exceptions, Caleb and Joshua. And verse 13 delivers the sentence, 40 years. 40 years of wandering in the desert. Moses is making it crystal clear, discouraging the people has catastrophic results. And then Moses just brings it crashing right back to the present day. He looks them dead in the eye, and verse 14 says it all. And here you are, a carbon copy of your fathers, about to make God's anger even worse. Verse 15 is the final brutal warning. If you do this, you will be the reason this entire nation gets destroyed. You can just imagine the silence after that. The leaders from Reuben and Gad know they have miscalculated big time, so they have to think fast. They scramble to save their dream, but this time they come back with a new unbreakable vow. And they come back with this incredible plan laid out from verse 16 all the way to 19. First, they say, we'll build fortified cities to keep our family safe. Then, and this is the real game changer, they say we will arm ourselves and lead the invasion. We'll be the vanguard fighting ahead of everyone else. They swear they won't come home until the job is done, and they totally give up any claim to land west of the Jordan. It's an all-in commitment. Now, this wasn't just some vague promise. It was a brilliant four-step plan. By offering to build first, then lead the charge, stay till the end, and give up any other land, they showed Moses, hey, we're not just in this for ourselves, we are in this for everyone. They managed to turn a selfish-sounding request into an act of incredible solidarity. So, Moses considers their offer. He can see they're serious, but he's not just going to shake hands and call it a day. Oh no. He is about to bind them to their word with a formal agreement, one that comes with conditions and a warning that's going to echo through history. Moses lays it all out, almost like a judge reading a verdict. Verse 20 starts with a big, if you do this. Verse 21, and if you cross the Jordan. And then verse 22, then after the land is conquered, you can return, you'll be blameless, and this land will be yours. Every single word is deliberate. This is a binding contract. So Moses basically puts a fork in the road right in front of them. Path 1, in verse 22, is the good one. Fulfill your vow, and you'll be blameless and get the land. But then you get to verse 23, and that's the other path. Fail, and you've sinned against the Lord. And that sin comes with a chilling promise.
Be sure your sin will find you out. Wow. It's one of the most powerful lines in the entire book. It's all about accountability. There's no hiding. There's no escaping the consequences when you break a promise. That's the heart of this agreement. Your integrity, or lack of it, will always come to light. So, how do the tribes respond? They formally accept. In verse 25, they agree to every single term. Then, in verses 26 and 27, they repeat the core conditions right back to him. They want to show they understand perfectly. Our families stay, but our soldiers, every man, will cross over and fight. Now Moses makes it public. In verse 28, he turns to Eleazar the priest and his own successor, Joshua, and makes the deal binding on the future leaders of Israel. After Moses repeats the if-then conditions one last time, the tribes give their final oath for everyone to hear. As the Lord has said, so we will do. And just like that, the deal is done. All right, the tense negotiation is over, the oath has been sworn, and now it's time for action. The agreement immediately kicks into gear, and the tribes on the east side of the Jordan start building their new lives. Verse 33 shows the deal being executed. Moses officially gives the conquered lands to Reuben and Gad. But there's a new development. Half of the powerful tribe of Manasseh decides to join the arrangement too. The deeds to the eastern kingdoms are officially handed over. The rest of the chapter is like watching a time-lapse of nation building. From verse 34 on, it's just this flurry of activity. The tribe of Gad is fortifying cities. The tribe of Reuben is building new ones. And, importantly, renaming towns that honored pagan gods. And the clans of Manasseh are out conquering their own territories. Walls are going up, communities are forming, a new frontier is being settled. And so, when the dust settles, the final outcome of this high-stakes negotiation is that 2.5 tribes, Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh, would make their home east of the Jordan River. It was a decision that would shape their destiny for centuries. And it all comes back to that one word, inheritance. You have to remember, this was never just about real estate. For Israel, their inheritance was a physical, tangible piece of the promise God had made to their ancestors. This is what was at stake, not just land, but a piece of their identity, their history, and their future. You know, this whole intense chapter really boils down to a powerful theme. The tribes made a vow, and their inheritance depended entirely on them keeping it. It leaves us with a question for our own lives, doesn't it? When our integrity is on the line, when we've given our word, will our actions back it up? Because as Moses warned, a promise made is a debt that will, one way or another, always find you.